Hey guys, it's MugenLord here, and I just got finished ending my live stream. I checked out the Nintendo Direct that just happened a couple minutes ago, and oh my god, I walked in with little expectations and walked away quite surprised. It seemed like Nintendo still has some ammunition in that gun of theirs, and yeah, we want to get right into it. So before we dive into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. So let us dive into it. Now, yesterday I did a video, or I would say last night I had uploaded a video, giving you my overall predictions and what I was hoping to see in the Nintendo Direct, and you already knew what my answer, my response was. Like, look, Nintendo just surprised me. I really didn't have anything that I really wanted to actually see. I didn't really have any real predictions. I just wanted them to just show me something that I wasn't expecting, and they have definitely I would say performed. They actually just overachieved, I would say, in my personal opinion. Some people may think that I'm over exaggerating, or may think that this Nintendo Direct is mid, but I walked away pretty impressed. So what was inside, or what entailed with today's Nintendo Direct? For starters, I would say this: Nintendo did let us know first and foremost in the description that they're going to be focusing on titles that was going to release this year. Now, so many people was also thinking that, okay, if it's going to be titles releasing this year, maybe it's titles that we already seen before. But we also got to remember too that there's a lot of titles that Nintendo haven't shown us that could possibly be releasing this year. And I said that to you guys in the chat. I said, yeah, some titles releasing this year, and Nintendo haven't showed us anything or everything just yet. And I would say this, from the rumors with a lot of the insiders were saying that Nintendo didn't really have anything to really show off after Legend of Zelda, and Nintendo themselves also played a hand in this too, because they said they wasn't going to have any announcements during the whole E3 window or the Summer Game Fest window. But then again, they came out of nowhere and just dropped us with this Nintendo Direct that no one was expecting. Even though it was rumored, it was still a possibility that would never happen, but it happened. So what games that caught my attention, what games that caught me off guard? First of all, they opened up with the Pokemon DLC, what the Violet, what is it, Scarlet and Violet, whatever it's called. I don't really care about it. I don't know how these games are still selling. I mean, these games, the performance, as far as the performance of these games, is horrible. The frame rate, they just keep dropping, the glitches, everything, and yet these games still sell, and they're able to push out DLC, and it still boggles my mind that people were excited even for the DLC, despite the horrible showcasing they had of this game and the trouble they've been having with the game. People still look forward to it, so they're going to just keep producing these games. Same thing with the Detective Pikachu. We got a new Detective Pikachu coming out, and it seems like there's no effort in terms of quality and performance, or anything. It's like it just looked like a half-baked, half-cooked game. And it only seemed that this is only happening to Game Freak and the Pokemon Company. They just putting out these incomplete looking games, Pokemon games, and people still buy them for some strange reason. I don't know. But anyway, besides the Pokemon, we can just move on past that. They have also shown off some titles that I wasn't really expecting, but it really caught my interest, which is called Penny's Big Breakaway. And this is right here is a I guess you say what, action platformer, and it looks pretty cool. And listen to the soundtrack and everything they have shown in this game, which I thought was pretty cool. It sounds like the game that I recall playing back in Nintendo 64 called Mischief Makers, because the main character in this game, in Penny Breakaway Adventure, it reminded me of the main character in Mischief Makers, and just the whole aesthetic of the game, even the soundtrack to itself seems pretty cool. And the thing that really got me surprised, or really got me excited too and intrigued to really look into this game, is the fact that it's the team from Sonic Mania that's working on it. So since it's the team of Sonic Mania, which they have done a good job with that title, these guys are also working on this game as well. So all I can do is expect nothing but good things to come out of this. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes out on this game. This looks really interesting. Now, I'm not sure if this is a Switch only game or it's going to come to any other platforms, but if it is a Switch only game, I'm definitely going to look into this game and just give you my overall thoughts and opinions once the game does release. And then not only that, we also get some other announcements, which is the Persona 5 Tactics. Now, I'm a big strategy RPG guy. I love tactic RPG. Now, the thing is, I'm just not a big Persona fan. I'm not saying the Persona games are bad. I just couldn't get into the Shin Megami Tensei type of gameplay, or I would say that I wasn't really into the whole Persona monsters and stuff like that, and the whole aesthetic of it. It just doesn't pull me in. It doesn't drag me in. But the fact that they got a tactics game, I don't know. It may pull me in that way and make me want to go play the other Persona games, because I'm just a big fan of the tactics game. But I know for a fact that fans are going to love this. It's giving more people to return back into the world of Persona 5 and its characters and everything of the sort. And I know my brother Keel Lancer is most likely going to pick it up as well. So that does look really exciting. And it's also on the Nintendo Switch, so you can be able to carry it, take it on the go with you and everything, continue to play, some more of that Final Fantasy, more of their Persona 5 gameplay that everybody just loves. So kudos to that. Then, of course, Pikmin 4, they gave us more information in detail. They did tell us in the description and Nintendo Direct that he was going to give us some details with Pikmin 4. Now, the thing with Pikmin 4 that got me really intrigued is the fact is that now you have nighttime gameplay. And I think the thing with when it came to the Pikmin games, it always gives that sense of pressure. I hate games when you're pressure, when you have a doomsday clock or a time limit, because the first Pikmin game is really good. I own all the mainline Pikmin games, all the way back to the GameCube. I owned the first game, and what I enjoyed about the first game is the micromanaging and stuff like that. Even though it's cutesy and everything, Pikmin was a really strategic game, because you had to manage out your days. And Captain Alamar in the first game, he only had 30 days of oxygen in his oxygen tank, and then you had to worry about the nighttime, so you had to try to get all the different pieces to his ship and make it back to your ship before nighttime, and then you had 30 days to try to complete as much as possible. And I really hate that type of stress. And then they eliminated most of the stress in part 2, but you still had that nighttime mechanic that even carried over to the third game. And the fact is that they have a nighttime mechanic in this game where you're actually able to explore, and they also have a caveat to it, which is the fact is that the monsters are more rabid, they're more berserk and stuff like that. But the fact is that you're able to do that, I think is pretty cool. And then they have the glow in the dark Pikmin, which makes, I guess you say, combat and exploration in the dark much more feasible as well. So I'm all for it. And then, of course, they show more gameplay mechanics with the little Poochie that you have. You can teach it tricks when you take it back to your home base, and then you can also have to rescue stowaways. You have to rescue all the other type of people from your planet and rescue them, bring them back to your ship, and then you also be able to learn newer things, and new things get added to the ship and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. You spend your points. So they're fleshing out the gameplay mechanics more with Pikmin 4, which I think is really, really awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And then this other mechanic where you go against this weird looking thing that abduct one of the stowaways, and then you have to play them in this 1v1 battle, and you got to collect the most Pikmin or whatever the objectives may be, so you can be able to rescue the stowaway, which is another gameplay mechanic that I think is also pretty awesome. So there seems like it's going to be a lot to do. And the problem about this too is that it releases next month. The game releases next month. Like, my backlog is getting ridiculous. It's too many games that's releasing, and I still can't play them all. And it's releasing next month. So, wow. I'm definitely going to pick it up. When will I ever get to it? I don't know yet. I really don't know. But we're going to get in some more details of Pikmin 4 as we get closer to the release date. They'll probably show off some more stuff that Nintendo normally do when it comes to their first party titles. And then, of course, they had a little small eShop game called Manic Mechanics. It's really short. They didn't really show much, but it's a multiplayer where you, in this mechanical shop, you have these different characters, and you'll all work cooperatively to be able to put together, vehicles and stuff like that. And then you have to watch out for little booby traps. And it seems like a fun little party game that you can play locally. I think you can also play it online as well, which I think is pretty exciting. I mean, this is something that I can be able to play with my daughter, and my brothers all come to my room and we all play it together, maybe do it on a live stream, so you guys can have a kick out of us just being silly while playing it. But it looks pretty fun. And eShop games don't really get my attention, but this one certainly does. I was just thinking about me and my daughter when I was viewing it. And then, of course, we can't forget there's another game that caught my eye. It's called Silent Hope. Silent Hope is like a dungeon crawler, top-down dungeon crawler. Kind of have this Secret of Mana type of look to it, isometric look. But like I said, when it comes to action RPGs or just RPGs in general, when I'm a sucker when it comes to anime style looking RPGs and chibi style RPGs where the characters are chibi but they have these big ass swords and guns and stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool. But this looked interesting. I may give this a go as well. I think it's not just I think it's also come out with a physical release, so I definitely will pick that up. And essentially what you do is you go down to the different levels of the dungeons, fight hordes of enemies, get different weapons and materials, then you go back up to the surface and then you craft your particular items, and it looks like it's going to have like a story to complement it as well, to give you a reason, to give the characters the motivations to why they're doing what they're doing in this game. So it's definitely gonna be something that I'll pick up. Now the thing is, what's a bummer to me, it seems like it's a missed opportunity for it not to be a multiplayer. I think it would be awesome if they made this game a multiplayer. Then I'm gonna be able to play with my brothers and stuff like that in this little dungeon, this cute looking dungeon crawler, But anyway, and then of course, there's this other interesting game called Myth Force. Myth Force is inspired by like the cartoon of the 80s, because I was born in 1987, and even though that was born in 1987, near the later or the last part of the 80s, we still had the 80s cartoon stepping in the early 90s. So I remember that 80s aesthetic when it came to cartoons like the Thundercats and then the Super Mario Brothers cartoon and many other Don Coyote and all the other cartoons of the 80s. And this game right here, I love the aesthetic. It has that 80s cartoon aesthetic, and the only thing about it that's a bummer for me is I wish it was third person rather than first person, but it definitely works. And also it definitely works for the fact that it's on the Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch doesn't produce high fidelity graphics like the PS5 and Xbox Series X. So the fact is that it has the 80s cartoon aesthetics to it fits perfect on Nintendo Switch, and also the frame rate looks pretty good too in the game. So it also going to have, it has 4-player multiplayer. You'll be able to play online, which is also cool. Then it boils down to 4 different classes. I think you have like a knight, maybe a cleric, you have an archer, and then another spellcaster that's part of the party and everything like that. So I'm curious. I may pick it up myself, but I think it's really interesting. And then even hearing the music itself and the trailer and how it's advertised, it takes me back to the late 80s and early 90s when I was a kid, when I was watching Saturday morning cartoons. And that was the pitch for this game as well, that is like a Saturday morning cartoon, and I think that's pretty awesome. So that's that. But there's two games that stole the direct for me personally. I'm pretty sure that it stole the direct for many other players, especially players that is around my age and that grew up around this. Now, remember, we talked about yesterday that there was a rumor that there was going to be a Chrono Trigger remake, and there was all the speculation that was going on when it came, to it or whatever like that. And it could possibly still be the case, but in this case, it wasn't. Right now, it's because they said there was going to be a remake of an old SNES classic, and people was pointing it towards Chrono Trigger, but it didn't happen. Instead, we got something just as good. It opens up and we see Super Mario RPG. Now, you can see my reaction. I'll probably have my reaction as a separate video to itself, so you guys can see where my excitement has just went crazy through the roof. It's just, oh man. But I just knew it instantly when I seen the Super Mario RPG opening. I said, no, oh my God, this better not be what I think it is. And then when I seen that star that was like high definition, I was like, no way. Like, oh my God. Like, Super Mario RPG remake, you don't understand. That was my childhood, man. Like, Super Mario RPG was one of my favorite games on the SNES. Because who would have thought that Mario will work in the RPG genre? This is where Nintendo has played their cards well with Mario. Like, Mario been doing everything. This dude has been playing sports. He's been driving cars. He's been a doctor. He's been doing everything. And then they made an RPG for the SNES, and I fell in love with that game. I love the hell out of Super Mario RPG. And when Paper Mario was announced on the Nintendo 64, or when they announced that it was doing a Mario RPG for the 64, I was always hoping for a sequel, and we never got a true sequel to Mario RPG. Instead, we got the Paper Mario series, and the Paper Mario series, of course, is pretty good in its own right. I mean, they've been shifting gears a lot with it, and they haven't been as good as it used to be. But at least the first two Super Mario RPGs are pretty good. But everybody wanted a Super Mario RPG, not a Paper Mario. The first two Super Paper Marios were good, but people wanted Super Mario RPG. And the remake, if we just get a remake, I'm fine with that. Man, looking at the graphics to it, looking at the visuals, even the frame rate, it looks like about like 60 frames per second. How it runs smooth, and now able to see all that in high fidelity graphics for this generation, for what the Nintendo Switch can produce. I'm all for it. I can't wait to listen to that soundtrack, man. Super Mario RPG had a great soundtrack, and now we about to have a remix of the soundtracks and stuff. Oh my god, I can't wait to play this game. And it comes out November, I think November 17th. Like, it comes right around the holidays, Thanksgiving. Oh my god, man, I can't wait. Oh man, and it better not be just an eShop game. It better be physical, because I need to have it physical. This is what I'm waiting for. Square Enix, you know what? This video will be too long, because I need to make a Square Enix video to itself to express, how I feel about the company. I have a love-hate relationship with Square Enix, but Square Enix has been putting some effort in and bringing back titles that I've grown up with, when they were Squaresoft. So I'm liking what they're doing here. And we're not done yet. We have another announcement that stole the show for me. And this was a rumor, but I was supposed to make a video about this last week. It just never happened. But they're remaking Star Ocean: The Second Story, which is called Star Ocean Second Story R. Oh my god. Star Ocean Second Story, you'll understand. Star Ocean Second Story was the game, the gateway into my Star Ocean addiction. That's where I got into the Star Ocean series back on the PS1 with the second story. I loved the hell out of that game. I played the hell out of that game. And that game was so damn difficult, growing up. I was in middle school. I believe I was like in 8th grade when that game came out. 7th or 8th grade when that game came out on the PS1. And I loved every fabric of that damn game. I enjoyed every part of that game. It was just like super, oh my god. But the fact is that they were remaking it, and you gotta look at what they did. It's like they decided to do like it's like almost like an HD 2D, because they kept the same sprite work that you had in the PS1, but they changed the overall, the world itself. It's no longer like a picture portrait. The character, like the backgrounds and everything are like 3D models, but look like 2D pixels at the same time. So it's like a hybrid. It's like a hybrid of, the old Star Ocean, version on the PS1, and now it's HD 2D, which really looks good. And then they up-resed and they redid the character portraits. And of course, we're going to have some full-on voice acting, because Star Ocean, the second story, didn't really have voice acting. You had the characters say things, little things here or there, especially Claude talked at the beginning, but you didn't really hear anything else after that. They only make like sound effects when fighting and stuff like that. But the fact is that we're going to have some voice acting in this newer version, and the character portraits looks awesome. And then their mouths and their eyes move when they're talking and stuff with the character portraits. Kind of take me back to the early like Sega Saturn and PlayStation days, when they had the portraits and their mouth move real fast and their eyes blink and stuff like that. But the fact is that we're revisiting that, and then they wasn't just lazy and just say, hey, we're gonna just keep everything the same. There's also going to be some quality of life changes, and they added the fact is that characters who aren't currently in your party and they're waiting, they're waiting off screen, you can use their special ability to help assist during combat. So if they had that in there, I'm looking forward to see what other gameplay mechanics and quality of life changes that they're adding to Star Ocean Second Story are. Man, you don't understand what this direct has done with those two reveals alone. And then of course Nintendo had ended it off with, of course, Super Mario Brothers Wonder. They did show off that next year they're gonna get the 3DS version of Luigi Mansion, and then Peach is gonna get a brand new game too, which I think is also pretty awesome. That Peach is about to have a brand new game, and I like the design of Peach. She looks different. She's much taller. She has better, they have more human-like proportions than cartoon proportions. So I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with that. And that come out next year along with the Luigi Mansion 3DS port that they're gonna bring over. But yeah, the Super Mario Brothers, they did and leaked this out that it's gonna be a new 2D game. I'm not really that big into 2D Mario games. Compared to how I am a fan of Sonic 2D Sonic games, like which the game I'm looking for is Sonic Superstars, which they also showed at Nintendo Direct. But I'm not gonna get it for the Switch. It looks horrible on the Switch. I'd rather just get it on the Xbox or whatever like that. But anyway, yeah, they showed off some gameplay mechanics with that. It focused on the whole wonder mechanics, where you hit get the wonder flower, and then all these wacky, weird looking things would happen to the stage and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. And also the flower talks, so like there's some voice acting in it as well, which I think is pretty awesome. I do like the art direction that they have with this the way Mario's animated and the rest of the characters. And yes, they're bringing back 4 players, so it's part of the new Super Mario Brothers series essentially. So yeah, you'll be able to play 4 players, so I think that's pretty interesting. I think that's a mainstay that's going to remain there. In the new Super Mario Brothers series, it'd be stupid to regress backwards and just remove the 4-player mechanics. But the fact that it's in there, I think is pretty cool. But I'm not going to pick it up. It's not. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a 2D Mario fan to begin with. I play them, but I'm not really a big fan of them. So I'll just leave that where it's at. But there's no doubt, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good game. But that's essentially it. So what do I think of the Direct overall? I think it was pretty solid, in my personal opinion. I walked in there with no expectations, like I always do. But I walked away from this like really satisfied. 2 of my favorite games being remade: Star Ocean: The Second Story R and Super Mario RPG. And I'm all for it. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment sections below. What do you think about the new the 2 remakes that they're working on, and what do you think about the Nintendo Direct altogether? Because I definitely want to know. Leave your thoughts in the comment sections, and also hit that like button, because the like button definitely helps me out here in the algorithm and on the YouTube. So that pretty much wraps this up. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.